Hi, welcome to today's Procreate Playdate. Today we're going to actually be doing how to make custom stamps in Procreate. So I'm super excited. I hope you can join us. And it's not going to be a super long one because it's pretty simple to do this. So I'll just show you a couple like fun, doodly, sketchy ways to do it. And we'll make some stamps and then we'll talk a little bit like how to use those stamps. So I hope you can join me. Yay! So, welcome to tonight's Procreate Playdate. I'm super excited that you're here. And tonight we're just going to do a couple of hiring. So, right now I'm just going to do a couple of things like stamps. I can show you some of the stamps that I've already done before, and I've done like the hearts and the unicorn, and then I use them in all kinds of different things. Sorry. Okay, so there's all kinds of different ways that you can do this. And in the past, what I've done is I've created coloring pages. I've been able to give away the stamps and then use stickers and things like that. Yeah, my husband is he's in the other room too. But I'm glad that you can come, Irene, for even a little bit. So it's awesome. Okay, so what I want to tell you is, first of all, in order to make stamps, you want to start with the square canvas. So I've got, actually, and I'll show you. So if you come up here to the plus sign, and you say new canvas, and then you want to choose basically you want to create a square. I'm actually going to go ahead and say, hey, let's do it the size of an Instagram post. So I created custom canvases for different size social media. So Instagram posts, Facebook posts. And I was thinking tonight that teaching you guys how to do the stamps would actually be kind of fun, because then you can do some things on social media like share a quote or something like that, but use your own artwork. And it would be super fast and super easy if you had stamps. So let's just go ahead and say Instagram post, so we have that up. It just really needs to be a square canvas here. And let's go and grab my sticker background brush. Okay, so it being Valentine's and coming up, of course, hearts and things are kind of on my mind. So, hi, Julianne. Yay! Kind of a small group tonight, so I'm excited that you're here. Okay, so so tonight I'm just going to do, let's do a heart. We're going to kind of do a doodly style, because you can do that. Oops, let's see. And you can even go ahead and create like a background sketch and then do something over the top of it. So let's just let's go and grab a 6B pencil. We're just going to clear that layer, and we're just going to go really loose like that. So I just like it the way it is. I think that's pretty fun. So let's go. So I'm going to double tap to go back. Ooh. All right, so that right there could be a stamp, and that would be really fun, right? So let's just go ahead and let's make this a little bit smaller by coming up to the arrow here, and see how that gives me the little nodes so I can kind of change the size of something. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, and then maybe let's go ahead and put a circle around it. Because that would be pretty fun for social media, just as a stamp that you can go ahead and just, add to, say, a square canvas for Instagram. So let's go and, well, let's make another one here. So I'm going to click off the layer 1, and then I have layer 2 that I added by doing the little plus. So let's do something like shine bright. So pretty messy, doodly. We're just going to go with the doodle style. But I think that, again, that would be a pretty fun little stamp. So just, I guess what I would suggest is just, kind of play around. Do you have something that you love, a quote that you love, or is there some kind of like motif that you think is just a lot of fun? We can do like a butterfly. Again, we're just kind of going for a loose kind of doodly style with these. But you can still go ahead and change things. So right now I'm thinking, okay, I like this, but I would love it if that was a little bit more even here, or like the same width here. So I'm just gonna go to warp and just pull that out just a little bit, like so. And I'm even gonna go to advanced warp where I have even more of those blue dots. And as long as I can stay on the canvas, then I'm pretty good. So let's go back to the arrow, which is transform and move. And we're going to say uniform now because we don't want to change any of this constraints. And we're going to move it right to the center. And do you see how those little gold lines kind of popped up? Those are the snapping, and that tells me that I've got it right in the center. So that's something we're going to do with each one of these. So let's go back to this one, layer 2, and see how it knows exactly where it is and it's picking up those edges. And we can go ahead and just kind of toggle that right into the middle, like that. So snapping again is right down here, and you can turn it on or off. And sometimes I know that things snap like a little bit too much. So you can go ahead and, Julianne, I'm so glad you're here. I am glad you're here. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Karen. Yay, you guys. I know I like kind of sent the email reminder out really late tonight, so super excited you're here. All right, so we're making stamps, and we're just kind of doing a loose doodly style because it's fun. All right, so I've got my love one here, and I'm going to make this one, oops. Let's go ahead, and so we had to make sure we were on layer 1, and now we can go ahead and make that a little bit smaller too. All right, so I'm using a 6B pencil tonight. If I wanted to make this a little bit more professional looking, what I could do as well is go in and create another layer on top of, like, say, this layer, and then bring the opacity, click on layer 1 again, and click on that N, and then bring the opacity down. And then what I could do is come up to my brushes and grab a brush that's like the rough edge brush. And then I could go, oops, but we need to be on the layer above, layer 4, which is empty. And then we can go and kind of just go over that loose design. All right, so which do you guys like better, the loose one or the one that's a little bit more controlled? Because I can't really tell. All right, so I'll show you. So bring this back. So loose or a little bit more controlled. So I don't know. What do you guys think? So let's see. Hi, Terry. So you guys. All right. Patricia. Okay. Julie. Oh, you guys. Yay. Kim. Looks like you're here too. Okay. So we've got, oops, Siri thinks I'm talking. No, oh my goodness. All right. So I had Do Not Disturb on, but I'm not sure why Siri started up. So, okay. So Jenny likes the original one. Jackie likes the one that's a little bit more controlled. Well, see, everybody has different like ideas, and the cool thing about doing Procreate is that you guys can make it however you want to do it. So I think that's really fun. Just one more thing, if you guys want to make, like, say you wish that you'd done this with a larger brush than you used, you can go ahead and go into, so here's layer 4. I'm going to swipe left and duplicate it. And then I'm going to go to that arrow, and I'm just going to tap off the side to nudge it over. And see how that kind of thickens my lines? So it's just kind of a little trick. So, because sometimes, it's just, we kind of do things a little, so it's me, but I don't really pay attention to the size of my brush all the time. But there you go. So that's a trick tip. Okay, so stamps. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably end up doing both of these. Layer 4, so this is the duplicate that we did. So we're going to merge that down. And then we're going to we're just going to say copy all. Oops. By 3-finger swiping, and then copy all. And then we're going to come up to, now if you guys have been over to wellcraftedstudio.com, you've been to my, there's a lot of Procreate brushes and stamp sets and things. And one of the free stamp sets I have for you is this Bloom stamp set. So now this is kind of like the cheater way of doing stamps, in that you already grab a stamp set that you may have or someone has given you, and then just swipe left and say duplicate, and then tap that, and that takes you into the Brush Studio. So what we're going to do now is just go to shape and then say edit and then paste. And then I just double tapped it twice, or with 2 fingers, in order to get the inversion. So we've got our stamp basically. So let's check it out. We'll say done. And there we go. That looks good. Now there are some funky cool things that we can do. We could go ahead and play with this. We could play with, scatter, which means that every time you do it, each one is going to be kind of like all twisted. Just kind of like, scattered, I guess. You could do a count where you have multiple at once, and then you have this count jitter where you just kind of, so there's all kinds of different things you can do. For stamps, I usually have it set at 0, no scatter. And then I guess that's one of the reasons that it's such a good idea to just take a stamp that you have and duplicate it, because really it's as easy as, all the settings are done for you. All you have to do is change that shape source. So super easy there. Now we're going to say about this brush, and I'm going to go ahead and delete and say love me. And then I'm going to say create new reset point, save, done, and there it is. You guys see that down there? Okay, one more thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a stamp preview. This was something that wasn't actually a thing when I first created some of these stamps, but under properties, under brush properties, you can say stamp preview. And now when I do it, you can see there it is, just the stamp. So let's make that preview a little bit smaller. Say done, and there you go. Okay, so let's just go and create a new layer here and say, and now look at that. How cool, right? Okay, so now the cool thing is that once you've created some of these stamps, it just kind of takes a lot of the work out of it for you, so you can concentrate on other things like coloring. Or let's say, here I'm going to go ahead and grab another layer here, and we're going to go and just color drop the whole layer. And then I'm going to change my brush here, the little color thing up here, and I'm just going to go back to and grab a white. And now you guys can see that I can change the size of the brush over here. And if I change the canvas, it'll change there. So kind of fun, but now what we can do is we can come and color drop in. Oops. Okay, so that's something that somebody asked me about in my group. So when you go ahead and color drop in, you guys can see up here where it says color threshold. So if you keep your tip down, you can go ahead and drag that threshold so that it's lower or higher. So, and then you can see what happens here. So when it's really high, it filled in like more than it should. One thing that I've noticed though is that if you change it, so let's say we say 24 or so, and then I go back, and this time when I color drop in, it'll fill it in, but it didn't look like that in the preview when we were doing the color drop. So you almost have to let it go and then redo the action. And now if you see here, there's a little bit of a line too. So I'm going to repeat that action and then just up that color threshold just a little bit. And now let's do it again. And that did it a lot better. So the cool thing about doing your own stamps is that it's, yes, you can quickly and easily create these things later. It's like you're stocking your toolbox. So last week we talked about creating texture brushes and things. So this week we're talking about stamps, but really what we're doing is creating our own toolboxes. Because once we have these stamps, we can go ahead and use them for all kinds of different things. So again, for this one, I just went ahead and stamped it, and it took me a couple seconds. And it's not, I can sit there and think about the composition, instead of thinking about, all the different, like, how do I draw this flower? And, oh, no, it's too big, no, too small. You don't have to worry about that because I've already got the flowers and they're cute flowers. So we're good, right? All right, let's see if there's any questions. All right. Okay, I'm going to go through it one more time here. Well, not one more time, but I'm going to go through it again so you guys can see. So we're in a square canvas. And I'm just going to get rid of this by swiping left and say delete. And this one as well, delete. Okay, so now let's go back to our Shine Bright. So again, kind of what I did was I went and I created a new layer above it. And here's the Shine Bright right here. So I'm going to tap the N and then bring the opacity back. And now when I tapped to create a new layer, it popped it in below layer 2. And I want it on top. So I'm going to touch it and drag it right on top like that. Okay, so now let's go back to here to the color and say black. And we're going to go back to our, I have a bunch of them saved under sticker brushes. So one thing you can do too to kind of save you time is to create a brush set that has all of the brushes that you use most frequently in it. Procreate came out with most used and recents, but the most used, I think it just pops. Well, actually, maybe you fill it yourself. I was thinking that it went ahead and populated it itself, but that's the recent. So yeah, so something that you want to do is kind of make things quicker for you is to go ahead and grab different brushes. So let's see, here's my sticker brushes, the ones that I use all the time. So I'm going to grab it and then just come up here to that most used. And let's see if it did it. It didn't do it. But anyways, you can just drop it in there, but you have to wait for it to turn blue and then it drops it. Okay, so let's go back to here. So creating a workflow is creating these stamps, creating a palette, creating creating the different elements that you would use to pull together quickly into some kind of work of art is really it's just a really good feeling to know that you can sit down, not really think, and then just go ahead and throw something together. Because there are times when I want to sit and create and just really kind of concentrate on what I'm doing, and other times where I'm actually trying to create something for something, like a social media graphic. In which case, those times I'm not really sitting and spending a lot of time. I just want something, one and done and go. So, and I know that you guys aren't all social media people necessarily, but I think that we all have a voice in this world that should be heard, or that could be heard, depending on how we use it. And you might have something to say that somebody else needs to hear. Maybe they need to know that they can shine bright, or just that you're thinking of them, or, whatever it is. But I do know that people respond to visuals. And so, I don't know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's see. I'm excited to see what you guys do with this. All right, so shine bright. So now we're going through the process again. So we're going to go to my brush, and there's a stamp right there, the holly leaf. So we're going to swipe left on that and say duplicate. And again, you can get the stamp sets from wellcraftedstudio.com in my free library. So you just grab a stamp that already exists, and then you go to shape, and then edit. Oh wait, and actually first we have to come back here, and we need to swipe three fingers down and say copy all. And then we can go to our brush library, tap on that, go to shape, go to edit, to import, and then paste, and then 2-finger tap to invert it and say done. And there it is. Okay, tell me you guys just think that's awesome. Okay. So that's, we'll go ahead now and do the about the brush, and we're going to go and do the shine bright like so, and say done, create new reset points, hit save and say done. And there we have. So I'm going to go and turn this off, and then we can test our brush. Oops, we have to do a new layer, and we can change the size. We can create a whole background if we wanted, with just a bunch of different shines brights. So easy and fun. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab blue. Oops. And this time I do want it to fill the entire layer. So that looks pretty cool, right? Actually, let's just go and create another layer underneath, and then color drop and fill the layer. All right, so now this would be really cool background, but I'd love it if it had white for the lettering instead. So one thing I can do here is I can come to this layer that's got all the light, like shining light shape brights, and I'm going to come up to adjustments, and I'm going to say hue, saturation, and brightness. And now I have some options for changing. Let's see. I can change, just slide this brightness over all the way, and I have white. I could also change it a little bit more and play around with some other colors as well. But yeah, so I think that that looks pretty cool. So once you have your stamps, you can go ahead and do some of these other fun things like the image adjustments as well. But I just wanted to show you guys the stamps tonight. So I am going to go and grab, let's see. Oh, and then I was going to show you guys how to do a logo. So it's the same premise of creating a stamp. So what you want to do, I'm just going to turn this off, into our new layer, is you just want to go ahead and, so this is another reason the stamps work really well, because you can go ahead and just add this to whatever with just a stamp. So I've got my JS, and then I'm going to come up and going to swipe left and duplicate it. And then I'm going to do alpha lock and another color. And then I'm going to do that same thing that I showed you before, where I nudge it over. Oops. Fill layer. There we go. Where I nudge it over, and that creates kind of a, let's see, kind of creates a cool effect. All right, so the nudging isn't working, so I'm going to turn the snapping off to give me a little bit more control. And there you guys can see. And if we duplicate that one again, the top one again, and nudge it a little more, we've got a fun signature. Okay, so let's make this into a stamp as well. So we're going to go and, again, 3-finger swipe down and say copy all. And then I'm going to back to my brush library, swipe left to duplicate. And then I'm going to come here and I'm going to say shape, edit, import, paste. Oops, I'm going to do a 3-finger. Let's see. Oh, and it's already done. So I'm going to say done. Okay, so now this is a really good thing to show you guys, because what happened here is I was using a color and not actually black and white. And so this is what happens when you use a color, is it gets kind of gray. So let's just go ahead and do this. Say create new reset point, save, done. Okay, so it's doing that color that I did, but it's not actually doing, like, showing all the, so that other color is just kind of a light one. So yeah. So now in order to add some color to this, let's just go and turn this off. Make this big. There we go. And then let's do another layer over the top of it. Somebody in a group asked about how to do logos, so this is kind of a good way to do it. All right, so let's create a clipping mask here. And let's get a brush that's kind of fun. Gouache. And let's go and grab a color. And then you can get kind of a really fun, like, multicolored effect there. So anyhow, Let's see if there's any questions. So let's see. Oh, Penny's here too. So we talked about stamps. We talked about how to use stamps. We talked about making a logo into a stamp. Although I guess we talked about, let's see. Oh, and I wanted to show you guys how to make pattern brushes. So line brushes. So let's go back up here and we'll actually go to this one and we're going to unclick that and unclick that background. We'll have a new canvas. And then let's go and grab one of our new brushes, like so. And we're going to do the same thing where, actually, we have to go back to there. We're going to go to this. So we're going to go ahead and do the 3-finger swipe and copy all. And then we're going to go to, we're going to go to the brush library again, and we're going to duplicate another stamp, and then tap that to bring us back into the Brush Studio. And actually, let's see. Let's go ahead and actually, you know what we could do? The more spacing we do here. All right, so actually all we have to do is take any, okay, so did you guys see that? Probably not because I kind of went fast. Okay, so I didn't even have to duplicate anything. I had my stamp. I went into Brush Studio. I have stroke path. And what I did is I kind of played around with that a little bit, and then I played around the jitter. So you can see now as I move things, see how it stretches out that original design? And that jitter is kind of making it, like kind of scattered-y looking. So I'm going to go to drawing pad clear. Let's get rid of the jitter. So there we go, and let's change that spacing. So now we have a patterned line brush with our stamp. So let's go back here and test it, see what we think. So let's go and turn that off. So I turned the layers off by just clicking that little checkbox. And there we go. So quickly and easily we can do ourselves, so let's make it smaller. We can make ourselves a little pattern background with our stamp. Okay, so let's see. Oh, my dad's watching. Hi, Dad. All right, so there we've got pattern line brushes. You can use any stamp that you have to make a pattern line brush just by changing that spacing. There's also, I showed you how to go ahead and create a stamp using just doodles, and how to create with, kind of make a start with a sketch and then refine it. And kind of showed you guys kind of how it would look if you were to do just kind of write something out and turn that into a stamp. So yeah, I think that's pretty much what we wanted to just cover tonight. So I'm just going to show you guys. So here's a social media Instagram that I did where I used stamps that I'd created using my boho brush set that I actually sell. And so I used the brush set and I just stamped in different things, and I have a pattern brush, and then I brought in a photo. So again, super easy to do social media posts in Procreate. You don't have to use a photo. You can just go ahead and add text and maybe say something that's encouraging or something like that. But I love the idea of you guys kind of using your Procreate art and your drawings and just creating with it. It doesn't even have to be something with use of Cricut, but just using what you are doing even at this stage before you've even started creating other things with it. You can take whatever doodles and things you have and share that with the world. So, all right, one last thing is on that whole share with the world thing is when you come here, so here's my bloom set again. So what you can do is tap on it, and over here it says duplicate, share, delete, rename. So if you share it, then that puts it into a zip file or into a file, Procreate file that you can do save to files. And there it is, it's Procreate. I'll say save. And now if I go to my files, there it is. And now I'm just going to go ahead and hold it compress it, and now it's a zip file, which you can go ahead and email or share or give to anybody, and they can download and open it, and it'll import right into Procreate. So I touch that, it opens, it imports. That was that easy. And now if I go to brush library, at the very top, you'll see Jen's bloom set because I just imported it that quickly. So here's my idea. I think it would be super, super fun if each of you guys kind of tried doodling and trying a couple of things and created a stamp. And then it'd be really fun if you could share that in the group through a link. And then we could all just kind of play, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. We'd have our own, I'll put them together into a brush set, and then maybe we can have our Facebook group brush set that is, something everybody created. So just an idea. I'll bring it up again. I'll let you guys think about it. But I think that would be really fun. So I hope I've encouraged you. I hope I've shown you something fun that you can do. And I hope that I've inspired you tonight. So like you guys inspire me all the time. All right. Have a good night.